Cioppino was developed in the late 1800s by Italian immigrant fishermen off the coast of San Francisco. On the occasion that they would come home empty-handed, they would walk around with a pot, asking other fishermen to pitch in whatever they could, hoping that they would do the same for them if they were in the same position. They would then take it home and add water, tomatoes, and other vegetables they had laying around to create what we now call Cioppino soup, a delicious, savory, and flexible seafood stew that my family and I enjoy around Christmas. There's a myriad of recipes, but there's not really any rules to Cioppino. It depends on the availability of seafood in your area at any given time, and more importantly, it comes down to your own personal taste. Start by creating your seafood stock, but first I will prep the veggies, and not waste anything. I will use the odds and ends of the fennel to create extra flavor in the stock, while reserving the center to be diced up for the soup itself. De-shell 2 shallots or 1 large one, and then chop up roughly. Since I am using a shallot, I will only add 1 onion. Fill a large stock pot with water and the shells from your lobster tail, not the actual meat itself, but you can put in the raw shrimp with the shells on it. If you have dry thyme, you can add a few sprigs, or you can just pour in some of the flakes from a jar. I'm also adding some whole black peppercorns and a few bay leaves. I took the scrap pieces of fennel, some onion, and large pieces of celery just to add in to increase the flavor. I recommend slightly thawing and removing the crab meat from the shell before boiling in the water. That way the crab meat stays more dense and more flavorful. Here it was frozen, so I just added it in, which made it a little hard to remove once it was steaming hot. Once boiling, lower it down and let it simmer for a few minutes, then strain. Reserve the seafood stock for later. Add olive oil to your soup pot, and then toss in your diced onions, fennel, and celery. Add a pinch or 2 of kosher or sea salt to help the veggies sweat, and then fresh ground black pepper to your liking. While the veggies sweat, add some red hot pepper flakes to your liking. Add the minced garlic,
Squids,
calamari rings and tentacles if you have them, lobster, scallops,
oregano, cup of wine. Want to raise the heat up to high. I took the stock I made the other day and used it to clean this can out so I don't have to add more water, thus preventing dilution.
Take the rest of the stock that you set aside and begin to add to your soup.
Some petite diced.
If you like extra flavor, it's optional to add one of these spice containers with fresh parsley, thyme, peppercorns, and bay leaves.
Once it's boiling, lower it down to low. Let it simmer.
This parsley chopped up will stay in the soup itself. Now I'm adding in the shrimp, clams, and mussels. Do so slowly to reduce the risk of getting burned. Moments before serving, add in your crab meat, whether it is Dungeness, blue crab, or snow crab. And now it is ready to serve. Optional with a French baguette or other toasty crostini type bread.
A French baguette.